Yes, a warm welcome. Mugalu Jeremiah is my wonderful name, and welcome to the site. Today we are back again with the game of cricket, and we are still talking about the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B that is taking place both in Lugogo and in Entebbe. Back again today, I'm with Denis Musali, and we are still digesting issues until the tournament will come to an end. Let Dennis say hi to you, then we continue.
I think it's still morning. Good morning, everyone who's watching the site. I'm happy to be back here and speaking cricket with you, Jeremiah.
Yes, we are going to be talking about the previous time. I think we were talking about the first round of the first round. Now we are talking about the second round of the first round of the ICC Cricket World Cup Challenge League B, and this time round, we've had a lot of exciting games. Most of all, I think is what Ugandans would love to hear, that Uganda has been cruising comfortably. However, much yesterday wasn't the best of days. Reason being that the game was abandoned at some point of time because of the rain. Uh, I would like us to stress the point of the DLS and the point of the game washing. Is it called eh? Game watch? Yeah, game washing. Let me call it that, because we had the rain come in, and the previous time when we were talking about the DLS, we I think we missed that point whereby at what point will it be used? Take us through that.
Okay, Jeremiah, we start from a good place. The DLS works in a 50 over game. The DLS works if you have been able to, each team has been able to play at least 20 overs. So, in using yesterday's example, in yesterday's case, Uganda had been able to finish their first innings. They had batted their 50 overs. So, for the result to count, what we needed was to make sure that Hong Kong can also at least bat 20 overs. If Hong Kong had batted 20 overs, then the DLS will come in play. That's when they will go down to the math and remove calculators. But unfortunately, yesterday the rain came when Hong Kong had only batted for 15.2 overs, meaning Uganda needed at least 4.4 overs for them to be able to get the DLS method working. So in a 50 over game, it's 20 overs, and in a T20 game, it's only 5 overs. T20 they play 20 overs. 50 over, it's 50 overs, like we've mentioned. In a T20 game, it's only 5 overs. In a 50 over game, it's 20 overs. So yesterday, I think starting from there, that is the situation where the DLS would have been applicable in that particular game between Uganda and Hong Kong, China.
Yes, I think that's something that someone out there has got to understand. But heading into the games, we would not talk easily about the result because I think it is very easy for someone out there to go and check and Google results so at any point. But let's talk about Riazat Ali Shah. A century in the previous game against Tanzania, and yesterday he also did justice to his name when he put on 80. Let's call it a half century also, because he didn't make it to the century. Uh, what is the secret behind his performances of late?
You know, even 99 counts as a half century, so no one will say he missed by 1 run. But maybe to just educate the people who are watching us about the DLS method. Now, a lot of the fans yesterday thought Uganda had scored so many runs, 292, and it looked like it was going to rain, but it wasn't yet. No one was sure. Maybe Uganda could have consulted weather forecast to just be sure. But here's what happens normally if you want to get a result and you want to push for the result. For example, if I'm Hong Kong and I know it is going to rain, I would be in no rush to try and get a result or to try and play 20 overs because the rain will work in my favor. Given it is Lugogo, when it rains, most times if it rains heavily, the game will be washed out. So if I'm Hong Kong, China, I will be in no rush to try and get the result of the game. But if I'm Uganda, it is in my best interest to make sure I try and get a result and try and bowl 20 overs as quickly as possible. So what you will see most teams doing is they'll try and use their spinners so that the spinners go through the overs quickly. Last time we were talking about it, a cricket over takes about 4 minutes, especially if you're bowling, if you're Juma Miyagi or Cosmas Chewuta. But if you're Henry Senyondo or Alpesh or Franklin Subuga, that will take you about just 2 minutes. So that means you're using half the time the pace bowler is using. So normally teams will try and use their spinners to try and bowl 20. So 20 overs will be 20 times 4, which is about an hour. But if you're going to use your spinners, it will take you just 30 minutes to bowl 20 overs. So people thought maybe Uganda will you go to their slow bowlers first, so that they try and make up those overs quickly, and then you can relax later on. But unfortunately, that is also a risky plan, because that might be your plan, but it's not the plan for the batting team. If the batting team can be able to score, keep up with the required run rate, and they are not losing wickets, then by the time you go into DLS, they might be in a better position than you are. So there are no guarantees either way. I saw it happening in the Challenge League when we were in Kenya. Qatar was taking their time in the ranches, and then Kuwait just made sure they go through their overs quickly. And by the time the rain came down, Qatar was actually behind. But if they had been able to play their 50 overs, it looked like Qatar was going to win the game. So it's a double-edged sword, but sometimes you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But just to answer your question, Riazat Ali Shah, and we mentioned it the other day that as a captain, he has not yet scored those runs we're used to him scoring when he was not the captain. And people were thinking maybe the captain is weighing down heavy on him and things like that. But over the weekend, he's been able to score 180 runs. He's stood up for the team when they want him to. Especially in the game against Tanzania, we needed someone to, up the run rate, take the game to the Tanzanians, and he came out and scored 103 runs out. He was not out, but 103 runs for him. And then yesterday, even when we looked like we were struggling against the spinners, he came in there and was able to take the game on. Maybe what the teams are not doing so well, Riazat is very good against spin. And if you keep bowling what he likes, then it will be difficult for you to get him out. So you need to challenge him by bowling maybe medium pacers to him and things like that. But once spin comes on, I don't think he's very, very scared when he sees spinners. He will just stack him on. But the important thing about that is that captains knock in both games. And as a captain, you always want to be leading from the front. A cricket captain is a very, very important player. When the teams cross the boundary, the job of the coach is finished. The job is now with the captain. So a captain it's always very, very important that the captain is leading from the front. Imagine, Jeremiah, I'm your captain, but I'm scoring 0. How am I supposed to tell you that raise your performance when I'm also not scoring? So in some countries, for example, like Australia and England, for them, most teams in the world actually will choose to pick their best player as the captain, because they know their best player will always stand up when they want him. So that way, it never puts the captain in a difficult position where he has to have difficult conversations when himself is not making contributions. So actually, the principle normally in cricket for choosing a captain is you pick your 11, and then out of the 11, you pick the captain. You don't pick the captain first before the 11. So you pick your 11 players, and then from the 11, you choose your captain. So that way, you make sure that your captain makes the team first as a player. So the captain makes the team first as a player, but he doesn't make the team as a captain first. Then you can think about Obana Akolachi, what does he do? What does he contribute? So you pick the captain, you pick the 11 players, and then you pick the captain. So your captain makes the team first as a player, and then the responsibility to be captain is just an added responsibility for him.
I think we've had a lot of partnerships that have hit big numbers in cricket games, but this time round, Alpesh Ramjani, I think, is the name that you would talk about away from Riazat Ali Shah. Alpesh, what new thing has he added to his game? If you are to analyze his performance compared to the previous tournaments we've had, both in here and out.
Yeah, a fine all-round Alpesh. And yesterday, on Saturday, he showed why he's very, very important to the side. For you to get a half century when you're batting at number 7, if you have a number 7 who can score a quality half century like Alpesh did, then it gives your team a different context. That your number 7 batter can still come out there and score a half century. And that's what Alpesh brings in the team. He can be able to bat either with any of the guys at the top who's been able to stay in there and hang around long enough. But he knows how to switch gears. He can hit the long ball. He can grit and run ones and twos, which has been a very, very good thing to see about his game. So I think the team is privileged to have him. In the past, he's been making a lot of contributions with the ball. But now to see him make contributions with the bat, I think that is the reason. That is one of the reasons he's in the team. The only reason you would probably leave out a player like Frank Nsubuga on the bench is because one of the two spinners is not scoring runs, but Alpesh is doing that. and we know Henry Senyondo is a bit. He's nailed down his place in the team as the prime spin bowler, and then and then it's complemented by Alpesh. But Alpesh, for him to be, he's in the team essentially as an all-rounder, and for him to add runs to his bowling performances is a very, very good thing for Team Uganda. Even yesterday he came in and had a good cameo there with Riazat Ali Shah. So for you to have a player at number 7 who can score a half century for you is a plus for the Cricket Cranes.
It is a plus for the Cricket Cranes, you say. But away from that, specifically on while we are still talking about that game against Tanzania, I would like us to have a look at how we started the game, because I felt we started a little bit slower with that gentleman. His name was called Raji.
Raghav Dhawan.
Yeah, he looks like he causes a lot of problems to a lot of batters, and and Uganda wasn't an exception. I think that's what I would say. What is the solution that we can have for these medium pace bowler? Slow bowlers in a country like ours, because I know he was one of them and he's not the last that we are going to face at this point. So what can we do for this kind of bowlers?
I think, and that's something I wanted us to speak about, is that, well, in relation to what you're asking me about Alpesh, is that in those 2 games we realized Uganda scored a lot of runs in the mid order and the back end. There were not so many, there were not big contributions from the top order. So while Uganda is struggling at the top, at least the guys in the middle and the back end are making contributions with the runs. Most of it is occupied by all-rounders, but they're making contributions with the bat, which is very important for the team. So as the top is still trying to find a way to score runs, the mid-load has been able to, the mid-load and the tail has been able to bail out Uganda. But I think the question to that is really the top order has not worked very well. What they've been lucky is that since it is 50 over cricket, even if you accumulate so many dots at the beginning, you can still make up for them and recover the back end. So that is what has happened in the 2 games. Yesterday in the game against Hong Kong, China, Uganda had so many dot balls. Close to 23 plus overs were dot balls only. But you can see they ended up scoring 292 runs because at the back end they have players who have power and they can be able to hit the ball. As long as you give them, you have enough resources, you can be able to go after the scoring at the back end. So in most situations, you feel like they've gotten away with it, but that is homework for them to do maybe during this tournament or even after, to try and make sure that they score more runs at the top so that they don't leave so much work for the guys at the back end.
Leaving Lugogo, where we saw the rain yesterday, let's talk about the game that was in Entebbe. Before even I head into that one of Saturday, let's first start with the one that was there yesterday, Bahrain facing Singapore. A game that I thought that would not bring a lot of numbers. In fact, Singapore surprised me with the numbers they put on. But Bahrain, do you feel that they are disappointing at this point of time? Because when we were talking about them, we thought it would be a walk in the park as they face Singapore. What do you get to see when Bahrain are playing?
Yeah, Bahrain yesterday won by 2 wickets, but not very, very convincing against Singapore. I thought they were pushed to the wall. They were only chasing down 140-something runs, but they won by only 2 wickets. Singapore was in the game for most of the time. Again, Singapore must be feeling like if they had scored enough runs, same thing happened to them in the game against Uganda. They just got 80, but Uganda never looked comfortable chasing the runs. And yesterday, Singapore, Bahrain as well. So Singapore must be feeling that for them maybe they are just leaving some runs on the table that can help them win a match. So it's going to be interesting. Bahrain will play Uganda in their final game, but right now they're not looking very, very threatening. They were able to beat Singapore yesterday, but like you mentioned, you felt that from what they showed us when they played against Uganda in the warm-up games, they looked like a solid team. So I think everyone expected them maybe to be pushing for the top 3 places. But for now, it looks like Italy, Uganda, and Hong Kong, China are separating themselves for the other teams. But we'll wait and see how they perform in the other games.
I think Uganda will be facing Italy on Wednesday, and it's one that you would look at too for a result. But of course, you've been talking of Italy. I think from day one, when we first met, and you get that feel that they are the team to look at in order. Okay, if you're looking for a team to challenge Uganda, I think you'd point at Italy. Uh, I want us to first look at Italy for now. What do they have that is threatening to a country like Uganda?
Italy, no one gave them a chance initially. We're all speaking about Hong Kong, China, and Uganda because, of course, those are the top ranked two teams. Uganda 23rd in the world, 22nd in the world. Hong Kong, China 23rd. Italy is further down in 30th. But from the two games they've played, Italy have shown that you know what, they've laid down the marker. That if you want to be spoken of as the favorites, you need to beat us. They put Hong Kong, China to the sword. The other day, on Saturday, they scored 343 runs. A big total against a very good team. And you feel like, I think that result, maybe they should have thought they should have beaten Tanzania, but that result against a team that is ranked second in the tournament should send some shivers down the spines of the other teams, especially Uganda, who are trying to win everything. So Italy have really laid down the marker. They got players scoring runs and scoring big. They got a century from Harry Manenti, 114. They had a half century from Grant Stewart, who is a bowler, but he scored a quick fire 60 of 25 balls. They had another century. Nikolai Gay got Emilio Nico Gay got a 50, following it up with another 50 he got. So they have players who are scoring runs, and they're scoring big runs for them, not just runs that are making contributions 38, 40 and what, but they are players who are hungry to score big runs, which is a good thing for them. I think now they are starting to feel confident. They are coming here. Alia is being vindicated by their performances, and I think they are thinking for them, as long as on Wednesday, that will probably be the final game for them. If they are able to nick Uganda, then they should be able to go on and top the group at the end of this first round.
At the end of this first round, in fact, going through the standings here, Italy has played a game less than all the teams, and Bahrain too, I think, and Singapore plus Tanzania, all of them too, and Uganda plus Hong Kong have played 3-3. You get to look at these standings and you feel there is justice in them. But I'm looking at a Uganda team that is going to be playing the rest of its games in Entebbe. And as we talked about earlier, when we were still talking in the first round of the first round, we were talking about the grounds that when you are in Lugogo, you are very ready to score runs. But in Entebbe, it's a little bit harder. So do you feel that this is one of the advantages that we have as we go to Entebbe to face Italy?
I think the first advantage of playing in Entebbe will be the rain factor. The rain really affects games in Entebbe. So Uganda will be sighing a sort of relief after having gone through their games in Lugogo, one of them being washed out. But again, playing in Italy has won both of their games in Entebbe, so you feel they are comfortable with that ground. But a bigger ground, Italy, yesterday, the other day, demystifying the theory we have in Uganda that it's hard to score runs in Entebbe. For them, they were able to score 334, 343. But you feel there will be good results. Uganda also likes playing in Entebbe, so it will be a very good contest to see how Uganda's character is going to be tested in that game. I think, let me put it like that. How far they've come, how well they've developed as a unit. A much bowler, a stronger batting lineup is going to test their bowling, and a better bowling lineup is also going to test their batting. So it's going to be a good contest for Uganda. I think this is the sort of challenge they want. They've done what they have to do so far, 1-2, maybe drawn 1, so they have 5 points. And you feel that they are not so far away from the top 2 at least. Whichever way things end right now, they should be able to finish among the top 2 teams. So at the end of this first round, and they would rather take that than anything less than that. So they've done well so far, but you want them to beat teams that are as good as Italy. That sort of gives them the test that should test their character as a unit and see if they can be able to measure up with the better teams. For them, this level is not good enough. If you want to go to the next level, then you need to beat the ones that are at this level to show the guys who are above you that you guys, I'm coming, watch out for me. So it's important for them to get a result against a team as good as Italy. The other game, the final game for them in Entebbe will be Bahrain, and the way Bahrain is performing, I don't know if they are getting a bit tired and things like that. And then you'll be able, because Bahrain on the final weekend they'll be playing back to back. That's the disadvantage of playing less games at this stage. They will have to play on Friday and then come back on Saturday to play against Uganda. So maybe that could be an advantage Team Uganda because they'll have rested before that particular game. But we'll wait and see. The important game for Uganda, I think, is Italy. If they're able to get a result against Italy, they will be guaranteed of finishing top of this table.
By the way, in the games that are going to be played before the next rest day, Bahrain will face Italy on Tuesday. I think it's a game to look out for. It will be here, right here in Entebbe. In Lugogo. Then Tanzania on the same day in Entebbe will be playing against Hong Kong. It is a game, but you get that feel that Hong Kong will be cruising or will be running away with it. But the following day, Tanzania will also come back to action and face Singapore in a game, but you feel the sides are a little bit balanced, though Tanzania may look like they will have a chance to get a win this time round. Then when it's there again, Uganda will face Italy at Entebbe. Something that this is a game that I'm worried of. We have talked all about it, but I'm still worried. However much I was talking to someone, I had a chat with Jeff on this same platform, and we were talking about Italy, and he got to tell me that in the games against Italy in Kamengo, Uganda looked the stronger side when they brought in the senior players, but the coach at first he was testing and he got to bring in the youngsters, and it wasn't too far, but when he brought on the senior players it looked like it would be so easy. So that is the boost I would have inside me, that we might grab or clinch a win down there in Entebbe. But on Friday, let me not talk about Friday because I think we shall be back here on Thursday to get to digest all those games that will be there on Friday. But Dennis, your last words for this round as we head into that game against Italy.
Yeah, I think it will be cruel of us not to thank the fans who came out this weekend. I think there were a big number of fans who came on Saturday and Sunday to support the Cricket Cranes in Lugogo, and we thank you very, very much. Continue supporting the team. Sunday, of course, there was rain, but the guys were able to make sure that they find cover wherever in Lugogo as they supported the team. So we thank the fans very much for showing up and supporting the team. Continue supporting the team. The games will be in Entebbe, but if you cannot make it, you can still go to icc.tv in your browser or the ICC TV app. You should still be able to follow the Cricket Cranes. Most of the boys are on social media, so they still feel your love even when you send messages on social media. But Italy, please do not listen to Jeremiah. Uganda should be good enough to get the win, and hopefully that the boys can be able to get the job done. Like Jeff mentioned, when Uganda fielded a stronger Uganda A side against them, maybe I don't want to say they are true. It showed that Uganda still has a bit of an edge, but even then Italy was missing a couple of their better players who came later after that game. So different contexts, I feel, and they know now that if they do well against Uganda, they're also interested in the results. It's not like they're comfortable that even if we lose to them, we just want to finish second. They know they want to get out of this first round as the leaders, and then they can be able to consolidate. So it's going to be a good game. Even yesterday's game, if it had not been interrupted by rain, with the way Singapore Hong Kong China was going, they were with the rate. They were never behind. They were losing wickets, yes, but they were with the rate, with the required rate. And if it had gone deep, it could have been maybe Uganda would have won, but not by a big margin. So I'm thinking it's going to be the same for the Italy game. Big ground, bigger boundaries. So the team that scores the most runs ultimately is just going to win that game. As simple as that.
Okay. Dennis gives us a lot of confidence when he gets to come here. But this has been our time. My name is Mugalu Jeremiah. This is the site. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. This is our time. We shall be back here on Thursday. Bye for now.